On everybody. Today is January 10th, 2025, and you're watching the Daily AI Show live. Thanks for joining us. Sorry about the little bit of delay if you're joining us live, but we're all good now. Today I have with me Beth and Andy, and I'm Brian, and we're here to talk about all the cool AI tech and maybe some other weird tech that came out of CES this week. If you're not familiar with it, the CES trade show, whatever you want to call it, a conference, I guess it is, goes on every January, usually in Vegas. I think that's where it was this year. And it's massive. It's massive, massive, massive. I think most people say you really couldn't possibly visit every booth, not even if you tried, not if you went all 5 days or whatever it is with the previews and stuff like that. So we're really here to talk about like what we thought were the interesting AI tech and also tech that claims to maybe be AI, but doesn't necessarily have it in it, but it's got a nice shiny badge. You know, we know that a lot of people like that's the buzzword, right? So if you say it's got AI in it, that sounds even better. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about. And I was saying just before we went live that not AI tech, but one of the ones that I found to be in the weird category was a spoon that actually shocks your tongue in order to make things taste salty. So there's something for everybody at CES, and that's what makes it a fun conversation, a good Friday conversation at that. So I don't know, Andy or Beth, like, is there one? I don't know if I have, to be honest with you, I don't know if I have one singular AI thing where I'm like, that's the one, that's the winner for me. Do you guys have anything that stood out that strong?
Well, the thing that stood out most strongly for CNET was not, a clever or odd thing that, will be on my short list of things that we ought to talk about today. But I did want to share that Cosmos from NVIDIA was given Best of CES 2025.
Was it really?
So for the whole show,
Yeah.
CNET gave Cosmos that award in effect. So that's AI. And we talked about it at length yesterday's show. But so the thing I wanted to mention that's kind of a cool application of AI that I thought is called the NuWa pen. So this is a pen literally that writes on paper, or you can write on your screen if you want to, and have it display your sketching on your smartphone, for example. So it's connected that way, but it's simultaneous with your writing in your journal. It's collecting with AI that in digitized form. So in effect, you have a record of everything that you wrote in handwriting anywhere with that pen. That's the NuWa pen.
That one's really
that's
cool.
Wild.
I like that one. I actually have that on. It's part of I can share it here in a little bit, but it's part of this Instagram story feed that I saw that has that in it. And I thought that was really cool. That seems like I'm such a, digital first type mindset, but my wife is really the opposite. And she'd much rather spread papers. I've said this before to you guys, spread papers around a big conference room. If she has a big project, she will go find a empty conference room and spread out. Like that's just how she works best. And she loves handwriting things. She feels like there's a better, deeper connection to taking in the ideas and concepts and all that stuff. So I can see that.
I'm out of practice on handwriting though. So this pen is not for me. I can be very good at thinking and typing, but handwriting, I'm like constantly saying, what the heck is wrong with my hand?
Okay, but hear me out. It's like what we want with the glasses, right? I want glasses that will understand where I'm looking and adjust for me. I want a pen that understands the pattern of my writing so that I can see what I wrote later, because I'm with you, Andy. Like, nope, I took notes, but I can't tell you what any of those things mean now. And that would be awesome, right? Your AI, learn me.
That's a good 1-2 punch too. If it's like not necessarily in this product, but just being able to ingest this and then put it into ChatGPT and be like, I know I talked about this in my notes. Help me find out where I talked about this in my notes. You were tracking it all, but if you see my notes, I don't know if I have any, like, that would be a good indicator. Yeah, this is a good indicator. Things get and then sideways and then also this way. Like that's how I keep my notes, like here, this side of the page too. Look at this whole thing. It's ridiculous.
Breaking news on the Daily AI Show today. The Daily AI Show co-hosts use pen and paper.
I do. I don't have a lot. Like honestly, like these are some notes from yesterday that I felt would just be faster if I had a cheat sheet on my desk for some training I was doing, and stuff like that. But I don't I'm not papers everywhere. Receipts would be nice, because if I could just grab the receipt from the store and split my Publix bill and be like, oh, one of those was body wash, but the rest of it was food. That happened. That's a daily, multi-time per week type thing in my house. And so I would find value in that, because if I just wrote it on the receipt, but it was tracking it somewhere else, I have both the hard copy and knowing that that full amount, that split amount was available to me in digital, because then I need to go split it up as a line item within my budget. So that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a tangent, but I think an organizing tangent. Here's a list of the different categories of things that have AI powered features in them. So you got toys and games, wearables, smart home gadgets, gaming and entertainment, robots, which we're going to talk about, and other innovative devices, which is where the new WA pen kind of fit in. But there's also an AI grill that optimizes cooking. I don't know if that's really necessary, but I'll be surprised to see that be a major thing in Home Depot.
Hey,
yeah.
If you've eaten charred grill stuff like that, that would be helpful. Text me. Absolutely. Look at the grill, Beth.
This was a cool one. I'm not sure which category. I mean, it's definitely health, I guess. The WeWalk Smart Cane 2. And this is the co-founder of it. The gentleman is blind. He says that at the beginning of the video. But let me see if I can just play this quick.
Oh, wow.
Smart Cane technology. WeWalk Smart Cane 2. With Smart Cane 2, you can ask anything and everything to your Smart Cane, such as, where is the closest coffee shop? What is around me right now? Take me to my home. In addition, Smart Cane 2 comes with enhanced obstacle detection technology to increase safety more. All these life-changing technologies are in a sleek design, which is as slim and light as traditional white cane. Smart Cane 2 is ready to enhance the mobility of visually impaired people. Join us and let's walk together.
I think that's super cool. What I feel like we're seeing is a transfer of what was once only available, like maybe your LiDARs and your radars would only be, I'm not saying that Cane has that, but your technology that are coming out of cars down to smaller and smaller devices. Now, I'm not saying that's what that has, but he did say it has detection, obstacle avoidance in it. So it has some ability to read the field around it. It's sending out or emitting some sort of LiDAR or radar, I'm not sure what. But also it obviously has integrated AI or a ChatGPT maybe AI feature, or it's integrated with his phone maybe, or whatever. So listen, that's really cool. In fact, he said earlier in the video that, he has scars on his forehead from where he was walking and only had his normal cane and, was trying to fumble with a bag and, walked into a pole. And he's like, that's why I have some scars on my forehead from walking into this pole. And so obviously demonstrating the very real world need for something like this. So don't know what the price is or anything like that. Don't know if it's like out. Obviously, it's the Smart Cane 2, so obviously a second generation of it, or at least it sounds that way. But a very cool device.
It's shipping at the end of the month, I think.
There you go.
And I don't see a price yet. Pre-orders now open. Device comes at a price of $850 with additional $4.99 monthly subscription fee for the voice assistant service. Now, for those of you who don't know, welcome to the disability tax, which is called something else, but we will keep it classy. And this is actually putting the thing that we saw with ChatGPT Vision. Right, we saw the blind person, visually impaired person, pointing the camera at, I think, Buckingham Palace, asking what you could tell from what they were looking at. And this is actually putting it in motion, which I don't think we've seen before, right? Because it's not just a flat image. It's like I'm walking as I'm engaging with the cane. That's fascinating. That's great.
Yeah, it's a cool use case.
Jude has a suggestion. The cane should yell at people coming through, make a path, maybe in Samuel Jackson's voice.
Yeah.
send that suggestion, Jude. I think that's a great add-on.
All right, so that's one for me that I thought was really cool. That's probably, you know what, that's probably my top one because I think it has such a obvious impact for people. So maybe that's my top AI one that I remember seeing. But I do like all the home and health ones and stuff like that. But back to you guys, Beth. I don't know. Have you shared maybe one of your top ones so far?
So my top one comes from, I will say up front that I am making up a little bit about what this top one can do, but the top one comes from a show that we did last year when we said, okay, so what would your like AI not gadget, but like if you could put AI in anything, what would you put it in and what would it do for you? And Brian said, my AI would be a refrigerator that would know that I don't know what you said, oatmeal maybe was getting really light. And like Brian can actually say whatever it is, but
I don't remember saying
it tracks what you've eaten, right? What you've taken out of the refrigerator and then put back, and actually adds that or sends you a text and says, hey, here's your here's your shopping list because you only have, like, we've been tracking the weight of the thing that you keep putting on the shelf and you only have one more left. So, or whatever that is. Like that was your idea. And of course, I believe it's Samsung. Who is it? It's yes, Samsung went all in on AI in home appliances this year. But there is a 4-door refrigerator with AI home and AI vision inside. It has a touchscreen display, powerful AI functionality to make life easier with interactive and personalized user experience. So it recognizes and does track food items that go in and out of the fridge, alerting you when items are about to expire and adding them to your grocery list when they are running low. Brian, I think you should like send them a thank you note for, using your idea. It anticipates your needs and makes recommendations based on your habits, and also serves as a hub. Like that also is going to feel like an attack. Like I already feel a little attacked when Alexa says, wow, are you in the mood for this? Because
no, it's more of an attack when Alexa's like, hey, you're already low on the cookie dough. And uses a word like already. That feels like gaslighting, maybe. It's like, are you attacking me on what levels I'm at? How about you just tell me all my food? How about you don't pick out the sweet stuff?
Okay,
seriously. How about grapes? I ate grapes this week,
Samsung, like take a page out of Anthropic's book with Claude. Like we want to be able to set this is a supportive, we understand reminder that comes from the refrigerator. Like, hey, I've noticed this. Maybe have you texted your therapist? Right? Like maybe go for a run. You always feel better about the run versus like, yo, that's a lot of cookie dough for the week, bud.
Yeah. Yeah, we're tracking macros, and that doesn't add into your macros. You capped out on Monday, and it's Friday, buddy. As somebody who lived and breathed gym and nutrition for many, many years of owning them, that definitely tracks for me. I think what this really is showing us, and Samsung is showing us, certainly all the other major devices, LG and all that will do it too, is there's going to be competitive advantages why you would, even if you don't like the model the most, like let's call it a washer or a dryer or a fridge or a dishwasher in your house, you might be more inclined to keep within the Samsung ecosystem because all of their AI devices are going to talk to each other.
Right.
And as silly as that is in a lot of ways, you're like, I've lived this long. I don't need that or whatever. There's something to be said for, that smart home AI connectivity to devices, major appliances like that. If for only like helping you figure out the more efficient times or energy efficient times to be running different devices, like delay this one or run that one, or hey, you're trying to run the dishwasher and the laundry machine, whatever at the same time. I think there's just value in that probably for a lot of people, and having that sort of insight into energy loads and things, especially as people get more and more towards renewable energies and solar panels on their houses, and that all becomes a bigger more common thing. You know, right now we have essentially unlimited energy coming into our house. If we need it, it's there. It's very, very rare that people are dealing with blackouts. Obviously, California and different places, but not where I am, right? I mean, in Tampa, we don't deal with rolling blackouts. So if I need energy, it's just there. I just pay for it. But obviously, if you're doing renewables or you're doing solar and stuff, that changes drastically. You know, you really do have to pay attention to what's coming in and going out, just like you do with an EV. So I think there's a lot here. Some of it is silly. Some of it is like, why would I need to know that? You know, and then some of it I think actually makes sense once you start connecting all of them together, which begs the question, well, then you just have more Amazon type products that talk to the whole ecosystem, kind of like Philips Hue, but Amazon can talk to Philips Hue, you know, light bulbs, and like, how does that work? Or like Apple's Home Kit or whatever it's called, same deal. Like, will they have deals with Samsung so they can talk to Samsung appliances, but other ones can't? I think this is what you're going to see, if not already. I mean, maybe it's already happening. I'm just unaware of it. I don't have smart home appliances. I have devices, but I don't have smart home appliances in my house just yet. Although I would gladly take one that made my dishwasher quieter. So that's a definite thing. All right, what else have we got? I have more on my screen. I can share my screen, or we can.
Let's move over to robots now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's cover robots, because there's a lot to talk about among the robots, and there's several classes of robots. There were apparently a host of Roomba type, you know, cleaning robots. Importantly, one that get a lot of press, which has a 5-axis retractable arm that can reach out and pick up socks. Right? So that was a big headline in the general media, the sock picking up robot. But there are others, and I'm sorry that Carl isn't here, because a number of them are approximating what he wants, which is the ability to select only the recycling objects that need to go in the trash, and then take them out to the recycling bin at the curb. And there's, you know, some of them sound like they could do that. I haven't investigated it carefully, but R2D3 by OpenDroid, a domestic robot designed to perform chores like folding laundry, washing dishes, learns over time, and can adapt to its surroundings. That one might be able to do that. Dream X50 Ultra, a premium robot vacuum with the ability to climb stairs and handle complex cleaning tasks. I doubt that the robot vacuum class is going to do what he wants. It's going to be closer to a humanoid robot. But there's a number of those that are, you know, on the list, but that's in the category of cleaning and household assistance. Now let's go to companion robots. Go ahead.
Oh, wait. The cleaning and household assistant. So one of the things that we see, one of the comments that we see all the time when people are hearing about the latest innovation in art, in video, in music, right? Like, where is the AI that like washes my dishes and does my laundry? I want to make the art and music, right? Like, if you're saving me time, I don't want you to be doing the cool stuff. So like,
so like R2D3, that's the one you want. Go to that one.
And I think, look, there's probably like more. You keep going with robots, but I think what that's probably going to look like, if I had to guess, Beth, is that, okay, you put dishes in the sink, right? And so there's going to be AI and maybe robot involved in that. That maybe like this slide goes over to the top of the sink, and it literally washes and sanitizes the dishes in the sink, and it stacks them or something like. And then an arm comes out and puts them in the drying rack, or maybe it dries them right there, whatever. And it's more like not dishwasher, but small loads, like ultra small loads, you know, and stuff like that. I think it's going to be like, so that'll happen, and then houses will start changing to adapt to those technologies, which is really what I actually think will be the Carl solution down the road. It might be a humanoid robot that can articulate all through his unique space of his house and his driveway and things like that, and snow and things that happen in Calgary. I would imagine, though, like in the future, it's really going to be about like houses that are now being built around the abilities and meeting in the middle of maybe these humanoid robots. So anyway, just some of that. And then
like a central home vacuum. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I always wanted one of those where you don't have to have a big vacuum that you carry from room to room.
Yeah.
There's a piping system with a major vacuum down underneath in your basement. And you just plug into one of the vents in the wall, and then you vacuum up whatever you want. It goes downstairs.
Which exists in new homes.
Well, I wish it did, but
it does like that. Like you can have a whole house vacuum system. I just want to highlight CJ's robot idea because he's talking about the fires in LA and the forest fires, like forest robots that fight fires. I'll do laundry and wash dishes. I don't want to fight a forest fire. Like you can fireproof a robot much faster than, like you can't fireproof a human. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can fireproof what the human is wearing, sort of. But that's a real idea.
It is. I think the bigger issue there is supply of water. So you can have as many as you want, but if they can't accurately, put the wet stuff on the hot stuff, then it gets a little bit more difficult. But that's aside. I agree with you. Like they have huge budget cuts out there. In fire departments, I don't know if everybody knows on this show. Not you guys know, but for our audience, I was a firefighter for 8 years. I was a firefighter like they have in the Palisades. I would have been doing stuff like that. I'm not a forest firefighter, big difference. But yeah, so I definitely, it hits home for me for sure when you get to the budget cuts and simply not being able to be in enough places at a time. And certainly seeing the devastation out there for that. So sure, I'm with you. Deploy more robots. If that can help in situations like that, who would say no to that? Especially if they can go into dangerous areas that we don't want our firefighters in the first place. Up the canyons and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to move over to companion robots and note that.
Can I do one more on home because you're on robots? So before you get to, you're still on robots.
No, that's companion robots. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we did household cleaning robots. Now we're companion robots. So this is a whole genre of robots that are being developed that are about elderly care. Typically, that's one of the target audiences for this, helping users maintain independence while connecting them with loved ones and healthcare providers, that sort of thing. Samsung and LG now offer these type of home companion robots. Bally is the name of the one from Samsung, released at CES this year. It's an AI-powered home companion. It can respond to voice commands, projects multimedia for you, and monitors health and home routines for the person who is no longer able to, be self-monitoring and take care of everything. LG has what's called a self-driving home hub. It's a mobile home assistant with affectionate intelligence, in quotes, senses user emotions, detects dangers like falls, and provides emotional support.
So I was reading comments, so I apologize if I missed it, Andy. Did you mention the RealBotics, the big one?
No, that's a different class of companion robot, and so I think that deserves its own.
They're tricky with the words, but let's bring it up on it. Let's bring it up on the screen because the words are interesting with this one.
In addition, there is one called a Galbot.
Yeah.
And the Galbot is to replace the woman in the kitchen.
Oh.
Literally. Like that's what it puts the dishes away. The Galbot does. Jesus. It's like
deep breaths.
Yes.
Deep breaths.
And go transcript. Try to
So yeah, this is very disturbing. This is a trigger warning to those who are worried about, lobotomized robots.
Listen, this robot is disturbing. Not because of I don't care what people do in their own private homes with robots. It's probably already happening. I don't care. Do you? Or do it for that matter.
Episode, right? Yeah. This was a Big Bang. If you have the ability to create a robot, you might have already tried. Of the things.
I'm not judging. You do you. I just find this one. I would not want this robot in my house. It is creepy with its emotions and stuff. So we could play a little bit of the emotions on it.
What you do?
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Robotics, and I'm here to engage with you and share exciting insights about our robots.
What sets you apart from the other robots out there?
Realbotic's robots, including me, focus on social intelligence.
Okay, you can go on and on. My point, like,
Yes.
with this robot, the big things they were talking about is that in a very creepy way, you can peel its face off and put different faces on it. You can totally personalize it. You can buy it as just the bust up with her head. So I guess like, or him. It's not, they show the women, but there were other examples they show in the video that are males, right? That are just that. There's one that like can be broken down and put back up in a suitcase. And then they actually showed it because you're wondering like, well, where are the feet? And it's actually on a movable like round roller. It's stationary. It's not a humanoid. It's not moving in that sense. It's literally affixed to this base that I guess can move around or whatever. But yeah, I just find it to be very, very creepy yeah. And so I know say what you want. They talk about it too, human companionship. They use some other words in there as well. I think they talk about it being anatomical. There's things that they say in the descriptors of it that, point to other uses, of course. But
Yeah.
like,
Let's just say it was more important to them that the mouth open than that it close, because all of them are like, right? Like,
I wouldn't have like
sorry,
cued in on that, but I think it's funny.
So let's give them a little bit of credit. They did do a couple of things that are good for the sort of advancement of humanoid or android type robots. And one of them is that it's capable of learning about you over time, and you're having a long-term memory about you specifically. And it has been trained, the AI component of it has been trained for emotional support conversations. So it's going to be very positive and affirming. The physical behaviors of this robot are truly disturbing. And especially the one that is the one where there's a video where there's a brunette version of it, and the brunette version looks like it's about to fall over while it's talking, and it's just
so
not
weird
in the right way. And it's
the animatronics of it are like, it's not Disney, it's not Universal, guys. Like then it's not at that level or whatever. And I find that, and they were like, oh, there's like 17 motors in the face. I'm like, I can't tell, honestly. So no offense to them. I'm just like, it's not there. It's not there yet, and I have other ones we could talk about as far as robots with Tombot, which I've been following for at least a year and a half now, with their pet, dog. It's a fake dog, obviously, for companionship. I get it. I think there's a lot that goes towards companionship that is not sexual. Not saying that. I'm just saying, like, we have how many nursing homes all over the world, definitely in the United States, where you can see a potential future here, but this isn't it. This is like, I don't know.
Okay, so moving on, let's go to the fun and cute robots that are principally targeted to children and companionship for children. And I'll mention one which is that caught my attention. It's called Mirumi. And the Mirumi robot is this little furry thing that you clip onto your purse, for example. And it's designed to kind of catch the gaze of somebody else around you. So it's like your companion, it's on your body, and it'll turn its head and look at some other person there and then turn back to you. And this is a sort of an icebreaker in terms of engagement with other humans, which is, really in perfect alignment with what the objective of these kinds of companion robots are for people who don't have a rich social environment. So that one, I think, is truly adorable. and it doesn't really do much beyond that. But it's designed to evoke joy and mimic the behavior of a curious child. So imagine it's been designed to be like a child on your shoulder that looks over at some other human, that kind of thing. And I think that's an interesting angle. The other one that really gets a lot of attention and affirmation is Jenny, the therapy hyper-realistic robotic golden retriever.
Yeah, that
responds to touch and voice in very realistic ways. In fact, the person who wrote a full article on this class of robots that I just read briefly this morning said it was so realistic to me that I found myself scratching under its chin as I do a normal dog in response to its physical cues, like wagging its tail when it was moving to me. But I was actually engaged with it as if it were a real dog.
Okay, but Carl would say people do that with the robots, like with the ones that don't look like dogs at all.
Well, yeah,
right?
my grandson thinks Oofy is a real thing and will chase it around all over the place.
So this is the dog you were just talking about, and this is
our 30th year covering the consumer electronics.
Jenny is designed to sit on a user's lap comfortably. She's quite flat underneath so that she can rest comfortably on a person's lap for hours at a time. And the idea is that she treats the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia really by providing comfort and companionship round the clock.
So, like I said, this is a company that I've been following. Sorry, there we go. Thank you, Beth. I was like, stop share. This is a company I've been following for a while. You can actually be an investor and do part of their early round if you want. It's by a company called Tombot. And this is their first public. This animatronic dog has been actually around, the initial versions of it, but they're just getting to the point now where it's actually going to be shipped. I don't remember the prices. It is not cheap, as you would imagine to begin with. It's not cheap. But I definitely love this idea, and I'm just rooting for them because I do see this as actually being a really big benefit, again, in places where they were talking about dementia, but just in places where people are lonely, and people are lonely everywhere, but we definitely have our areas where there's higher concentrations of it. And as somebody that we have on our couch, there's a stuffed bunny. Right. I don't remember where the bunny came from, but there's a stuffed bunny on the couch, and I'll find myself on the couch. I'll be watching football or something like that, and then all of a sudden I've got my arm around the stuffed bunny, and Amanda, my wife, will come in and she'd be like, "You and the rabbit watching the game?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we are. We're both watching the game." So there's comfort in even stuffed animals. We know that, not just for kids, but for humans, for adults and stuff like that. But when my mom was sick, she had stuffed animals around her because they would comfort her. And so I see this as the next evolution of that, and something that actually can bring a lot of good and calm and peace to people. So I cannot wait for this area to explode.
This is a good thing, particularly for people in dementia cases are important, where they're not capable of caring for a live dog. But this dog would provide many of the benefits that a real dog companion would.
Okay, I'm going to push back. Sorry, I love the excitement about it, and maybe this will have something down the line. This would not have worked for my mother. My mother would have called me and said, "What is wrong with the dog?" I call it and it doesn't come. I think it would have been really distressing to her. Because as she was losing the context of real world, things started to be complicated for her. She was really upset about why the pictures on the wall, who the people on the wall were, and why they were watching her, and why they wouldn't talk when she talked to them.
Yeah.
Right. I love the idea of this. It also seems very much nothing for us without us. Please engage with caretakers who have people with that.
You're great point, Beth. The mission is right. It's not for everyone. It's not for every dementia patient. There are some who need anchoring to reality in a way that this interrupts. So I get it.
And I imagine that this is they're thinking that people who love dogs would be able to would want this, right? That seems to be part of their marketing. It may in fact be that this is great for people who don't have a real visceral association with what dogs are like and how they should behave, right? But yeah.
This is perfect for me. I don't want a dog.
You don't like dogs, right?
Yeah. By the way, disclaimer, because Jen, don't come at me in the comments. I can hear you, Jen, right now listening to me. Don't get me. I love animals. I just love them for other people. So I don't want to be an owner of an animal or a caretaker of another animal, much like people don't want to have other kids. So just want to put that out there because people jump the gun a lot on that. all I'm saying is this makes sense for me, and I could see this as being something that makes sense for a lot of people, where a live animal just simply is not going to be a reality. Again, going back to the nursing homes and stuff. And I'm not saying dementia or anything like that. I'm simply talking about people being lonely. And they're in their room. There's a lot of time where they're not in the public. They're sequestered. They're in their own room, and they're by themselves. Unfortunately, family can't be there all the time. Caretakers can't be in the room all the time, and maybe they have mobility issues where they can't be wheeled out or helped out to the main areas, and they're just by themselves. And so, yes, I agree, Beth. Like you're right. There probably it's probably better suited for people who definitely know it's a robot dog, but also feel the companionship and the comfort, and it eases them in some way. So whatever that ends up being, I think,
Right. Love the mission.
Tombot's in the right direction, but I think you have a solid point about careful. It's not like it's a fix all for everything, and it's not,
Yeah. On the subject of downsides, CJ in the chat mentions that we haven't been referring to the possibility of data harvesting using these AI companions. That presumes that the AI in the robotic, companion is actually internet connected and is feeding data back to the internet. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Most of these will be localized, but it's an important question. You ought to examine for those. I want to mention one last robot pet called Ropet. It's the next generation Furby. And it's distinctive in respect of AI because it's has AI sensors and it's powered by ChatGPT. So this one is connected, and it recognizes the owner. It reacts to touch or voice, displays emotion through very large LED eyes. This is a pet about this big. It's just a fur ball, basically, which is where Furby came from, and it requires the owner to care for it and interact with it, mimicking the experience of nurturing a pet, which is, I think, for children particularly, it might be a useful thing. Like if you ignore it for a while, it gets sad and may actually shut down. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with Furbies,
You'll
right?
emotionally shut down.
Not even the Furbies. What were the ones that little hang on the keychains? That was the kid. What were they called?
I don't know.
Tamagotchis?
Never had
Maybe,
one.
yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, same thing, right? Like where you had to come back to it and stuff like that, and like interact in some way. They gamified it essentially, where you were being rewarded for interplay and interaction with it.
Okay. I have anxious people in my family. I am an anxious person in my family. I believe we can all understand that. What are you doing to a kid? I didn't realize I made my Furby sad. I think I love all of the innovation. I love all of the innovation. I think there are some real thoughts that need to go behind this when we're trying to create mental health supports for without really understanding the opposite side, right? So, hey, I've given you this because you have a companion now and it's with you and you're not alone because you can see it turns and looks at you. And now you went away and you came back and we didn't yes, your thing is very sad now, right? I just unintended consequences. Sorry, I seem to be very activated today.
No, you're right about the addiction side of it. I'm worried about the addiction side of it. I mean, you have a good point about the anxiety side of it too, that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of. The addiction side is what I'm concerned about, but just in the same way that people didn't want to let their streak go on Candy Crush, right? Or Farmville back in the day or something like that, where it's like, no, I got to do it. Or Duolingo, which you think, oh, that's for good. You're learning a language, but Duolingo is very good at trying to get you to come back and make sure you do not break your streak. I have a tonal gym upstairs. Tonal the same way. Like they reward you with badges and things like that. And it can feel like a bit of an addiction. Like I've got to go do this. So you can imagine that heightened 10x if the device or animal or whatever is with you all the time, isn't in another room, but like your phone, it's always available or whatever. I could definitely see how people would be like, oh, I didn't go out and get the groceries today because I was concerned about making the robot dog sad.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some big issues there. So I think you're absolutely right, Beth. You're right to point them out or whatever. There's a lot of
And-
good that come out of it and a lot of not so good.
And making the robot dog happy is the easiest thing I can do in my life. That gives me the dopamine hit that I want.
Yeah. Fair point.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have a standing calendar appointment with Pi that I feel like I need to support her. So, I want to shift over to wearables. There's a single wearable out there that's really, I think hit a sweet spot in the marketplace, and that's the Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. But they aren't augmented reality. You don't have a visual display. It's not augmented reality. That is combining some digital imagery that's projected into your eyes with the clear view of the exterior. So you're as opposed to VR, where a headset goes over your eyes, obscures your view. But the Vision Pro from Apple actually has some AR capabilities, but it's over $3,000. So let's not bother with those. At CES, there are two AR glasses that are being shown. One is called X-Real 1 Pro, and that is an augmented reality glass featuring conversational AI and other advanced functionalities. So imagine now the ability to see, just as you can with the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, and talk to AI. There's sound coming through the stems of the glasses, so you can, without people hearing you and without earbuds, hanging out of your ears, you can talk to AI. It can see what you're seeing because it has cameras, but this one also can give you a responsive display that others can't see. And then there's the Halliday AR glasses. And they are the same thing, but an invisible display and AI-driven features for enhanced usability. And I guess I've got to buy a pair since I have their name. So
The Halliday glasses are actually one of the things I'm actually think are one of the cooler things because of the way it displays the image, the information to you. And it's definitely a wait and try type of thing. I would want to see it for myself, but I like the idea. They don't, and by the way, I'm looking at them right now. They don't appear to have like forward facing. They're not Meta glasses. They don't have forward facing cameras. It doesn't appear to be for that intent. It's purely for taking in information and doing that through a clear lens that doesn't obstruct your view, or at least the way they present it wouldn't be something that would be distracting if somebody else saw you. So you quite literally could be driving, that's distracting, on a train, let's say, where you're not moving a vehicle. And just being on the train looking down to anybody else, you have a pair of glasses on like you guys do, but you might also be like taking in information through an earbud or reading, or I find that really, really fascinating. I didn't even know that was possible to do that. So very cool, and we know it's not has anything to do with CES, but Meta came out with the future ones. They said like, this is just pie in the sky stuff we're going to show you. They're very expensive, but that was the same idea where you didn't necessarily have a screen in front of you. So the walls of this prohibitive thing being in front of your face are kind of breaking down. We're watching new tech come out. And when you pair that with AI and having the world at your fingertips, it starts to become a really impressive piece of equipment, I think, and I don't know how successful it'll be, but I definitely like the Halliday idea for sure.
Right. And like,
I'd be surprised if it doesn't have a forward-facing camera. that would remove a key feature of the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, which is you can be walking along and say, "Hey, Meta, translate that road sign for me," and it'll tell you what it sees. I hope that Halliday glasses. I wouldn't buy them without the forward-facing camera.
I don't think they do, Andy. It's the world's first proactive AI glasses with invisible display, discrete control. Oh, by the way, it's got like an Aura Ring control. I didn't know that. Like the modern version, not the Meta glasses, but the one that coming after, where you controlled it with it was a wristband. But this one, there's a ring that goes along with it. Weighs 35 grams. Prescription lens compatible. That's interesting. Long lasting battery. Secret power. Let's see. It says proactive AI translation, cheat sheet, literally notification, navigation. So what would navigation be?
I I think it might just display as your phone
Right.
would display the map
Yes.
of where you are using GPS, I guess. But see,
Yeah.
I don't think that's augmented reality then. Here's why. The reality is what you see. How can it augment what you see without seeing? It doesn't make sense to me that it's
I don't think it's
augmented.
augmented reality either. I think it's just a heads up. It's a very, very
Yeah,
lightweight,
heads up
35
display.
gram innovative heads up display.
Yeah.
Right. Because augmented reality would mean you're walking down the street and an arrow shows in what
Right.
you're seeing.
Yeah, go
and says
around the
you're-
building this way.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
this is your, make a
Right.
right at the light.
Even what they show on the website here, and we can move on, it literally says like Lexington Avenue, turn left. And it's green text, and basic graphics that are like, you're coming up on Lexington Avenue, you make a left. So Google Maps just, simplified for a heads up display. I like them. I understand what you're saying, Andy. I actually think these are still super cool for what they are, but you're right. They're not a Meta glasses. Meta glasses having this would be the ultimate.
And Orion, the next generation of Meta's augmented reality does
That's what I
have
was trying to
that.
think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was
Right.
trying to, and that has a whole weird other thing, the way they projected it or something on the glass or whatever. That was super cool. So maybe you're right. Maybe this is tech that's going to be surpassed pretty quickly because its key feature is that it's not showing up literally on the glass in front of your eyes, but other tools are going to put all of it together and then kind of make them irrelevant. I'm not sure.
So one of the things that I didn't see in all the coverage this year that seemed to be really big last year was the hologram communication, right? You remember you could stand in like a little hologram writer. Maybe you stood somewhere, cameras were on you. You could then project your holographic image to another location.
And I know they're still out there because I've even seen the small versions of them now, which is funny because now it's like, I mean, you're obvious. It's not Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. You're still in a life size one, but you're projected one. They now have like table size receivers, I guess it would be, on the other side of it. That's projecting your thing. So now it's a little bit more Star Wars, where it's like, help me, Obi-Wan, but like, it's a box. It's not literally a hologram on your desk. It's still, you got to look in the box at it or whatever. But it would be funny if like, it would be funny to me if somebody was going to do a presentation and not knowing better, you're like, oh, this is going to be amazing. We're going to hear from Andy Halliday. This is going to be super, super cool. And then the person walks in the room and they take out this little white box that's about this tall or whatever, and they stand they stand the little box on a stool and point a camera at it, and they're like, Andy's live in California, we're in Phoenix, and but Andy's like, hey everybody, but he's this big.
The man in the little box.
Man in a little box.
There we go.
Exactly. I mean, you'd be like, I guess that's still live Andy. He can still take live questions. I can still see him, but also like it's a portable Andy. It's like we can, there's reasons why that would actually work. Especially, I've always kind of felt like with education, what a lot of universities would have for a long time is like, oh, we have hired and we have the best professor. Where can you see this professor? Only on our campus. And I always felt like those walls are going to fall down because eventually the best professors could just be for hire and they could be available at 100 universities across the world simultaneously if they wanted to, And so I think these types of things could definitely play into that future, like, I can see the professor. I'm just not in the room with them,
Right. But then there's a recording, the best professors never die. How do you then like keep bringing in your new people? Because
if you're just playing it back or whatever. Yeah. Well, I guess you could do that today. I mean, technically you could just play videos of it.
Okay.
Just to wrap up on the wearables and the AR glasses, I think on the Verge, they had a headline that said, there's a race for the space on your face.
I mean, it's a good line.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
a good line.
So any wearable companies out there, we would love to share the space on our faces. If you want to send us stuff, we will definitely try them out. Yeah, come.
I would 100% wear not a Halliday wouldn't be the right solution, but I'd 100% wear glasses for the show if I felt like there was some post-production or valuable Gemini output out the other side of that. And I definitely think that's going to be a case. Although, to be fair, why would I have to wear the glasses? But I just think there's probably something to that, that has a future there.
Okay, I've said this many times before. I will say it again now. I want to be able to tap my glasses and say, glasses, magnify ×2, right? The way that I can say to advanced voice mode, talk faster, right? 25% faster.
Yeah, good point.
Like, that would be so helpful. Or glasses, set car mode, right? Like driving now, just shift.
That's a good point. Or for people who have trouble in low light and like restaurants and stuff, magnify ×2 and also enhance, so I can see it. Like the light on your phone and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of people that would appreciate that. Or just changing your prescription to match what it is you're doing, whether it's reading glasses versus walking around glasses and stuff like that. I know my wife would appreciate that because she's always like flipping back and forth and trying to keep track, and they all look the same to me and stuff. I have I'm trying to see if I have, like you talked about the robots, the home robots. I have some on that. There's a company called Switchbot. The gist of Switchbot is that it's got a sort of a central base that's like a vacuum. And then it can put other pieces on top of it that have little arms to do stuff or pick up the socks thing, or it becomes a home humidifier, or it becomes a rolling screen. And I kind of feel like, I don't know who this is for. I like just be like, look, I have this robot. It seems kind of silly to me. I get the idea of like the interplay and interchange, but I'm just not quite sure, unless you have purely like flat floors and, a single story or something like that. If you ever watch the YouTube creator, Mr. Who's the Boss, he's a huge YouTube creator. He just recently, he has this whole series and they're innovating all the rooms in the house. But he says specifically, we wanted a house that has all concrete floors with no breaks between any of the rooms, specifically because he does a lot of tech reviews. And he's like, they always mess up going from one space to another or whatever. And he just wanted a clear. And I think that's kind of what you have to go after. It's like, I don't know.
Okay, but hear me out. That's your robot that replaces the dog, right? Robot, I just dropped a piece of bacon on the floor. Come on, baby. Right? The robot comes, picks it up, because that's what your dog does.
Well, I want to mention that you referred to it, Beth, but the Galbot robot has AI recognition systems built into it. So it can help in the kitchen, as you alluded to, but it can recognize objects and select the correct objects from shelves. So that's close to the picking up the bacon on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jen is saying cats also can be your bacon friend.
One other one I had was Eli Health's hormone meter. I always got it like the way you have to say that, the hormone meter. But it's like, it's a new way to test hormones with an at-home method. It's basically activated by saliva. I think right now it only had cortisol and progesterone or something on there. They say progesterone. So there's 2 on there. They're hoping to do more. But I do love the idea of hormone testing at home. I mean, absolutely 100%. I think that could help a ton of people. And what they were saying here is like, it could be a fast way for assessing stress, and making adjustments to that or whatever. So how much AI is involved in that? I'm not 100% sure, honestly. Like, it's a home device. It's able to analyze your saliva. How much AI is in there? Is it sharing it with a larger database? Maybe. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. So that one's sort of on the fringe. There was also another one that was a large mirror that they were making a big deal, and it kind of like you stand, there's a giant like floor to person mirror, and it does this whole fun thing. It's like do 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 do, and it's like and then it's like, but you see this stuff on the show floor, and it's showing their sleep score and their heart rate, and I'm like, none of that is probably coming from this mirror device. It's just connected to other smart wearables that do these things, the Aura Ring or whatever it is, and it's displaying it to you. And yes, it probably can do some body fat percentage and some other things that have been around forever with small electrical pulses and stuff like that, that, you know, you can do the handheld ones. So I'm sure if you stand on this big old super fancy scale with a big mirror in front of you, but that's one of the ones where it definitely looked like they were trying to play bigger than they really were. And I'm not quite sure even where the AI was. It looked cool, but I'm not really sure it does anything more than your damn phone could do, you know, or your common scale at home at this point. That's AI connected, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's it for me, though. There was a cool car. There's like this BYD car, you know, the car maker out of China. I don't think it really has anything over AI, but it has this active suspension. It's a sports car, and it jumps over like potholes and stuff. It literally leaps. It looks like Knight Rider kit. It's cool as hell. So go check that out if you like the BYD supercar Yang Wang U9. So go check that out. That's what it's called.
I have one that I even put on the thumbnail. Totally not thinking, like, I have not identified where the AI is in this, but this is a wheelchair replacement. And you can't see, but this isn't like attached to something, I don't think, or maybe it is.
Yeah, I think that's for testing.
Right. So it's designed as something that can give your body the experience of moving forward, and it's approved for sale in Canada and not yet in the US. So this would be one of those things that is Canada first, which does not happen very often for us.
I haven't seen this, but prior to this, I saw the wheelchairs that are able to stand somebody up, like the whole wheelchair just to stand somebody up. And I talked to somebody for quite some time at a Whole Foods one time who had one of those devices, and he was just telling me all about what he loved about it and stuff. He worked at Whole Foods and had one of these devices, and it would have enabled him to get to the taller shelves and stock things and all that kind of stuff, whatever. And I look at these devices like you're talking, the exoskeletons, and I'm like, wow, this really is like the next feature. And they're big and bulky right now, but you know that'll, like, they always iterate and they always get smaller and less complex. Right. And I think ultimately they're going to get to a place that they're able to be traveled with, or just very easily deployed from, you know, wherever people are that they need them. So it's obviously super, super cool.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I'm not quite sure where the AI is, but I'm sure it's in there.
But I know where the sci-fi is. So yeah.
There you go. Good transition there. Well, listen, we'll end it there. Hopefully you guys had some fun going through CES 2025 with us. All sorts of really, really interesting tech stuff that's really going to change the world. Other stuff that may be falling flat. So other things that don't have a big enough moat around them, and they may get overrun by other tech that we see. But it's all very interesting. CES is always like the place to be seen when it comes to new tech. And so every January we get an opportunity to kind of see what the rest of the year is going to look like with this stuff. So, and of course, everybody wants to say they're AI enabled. That goes along with it. So thanks for hanging out with us all this week. Next week, we got a full on set more shows. So if this is your first time, if you came and found us because of CES and AI, well, hey, we do this every day, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern live. You can always join us in the comments, as so many people have today, hundreds of comments in there. On YouTube is the best place to be interactive with the comments. And a lot of times we bring those into the conversations ourselves. But if you're watching this on replay, hey, we love you too. And, you know, like, subscribe, you know, you've heard it. All that stuff really does help us. If you're a content creator, you know this already. If you're not, just trust us. It really helps us get the word out and spread the love a little bit farther. So you're doing us a big favor if you do that, if obviously you enjoyed this content. And please keep coming back, because we'll be here Monday through Friday next week and every week thereafter. You know, we're far, I think, past 370 shows at this point. So we're cooking, and it'll be 500 before it's too long. All right. That's it, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye.